Song for the Imps. How about a song for the Imps? There we go then. Come on, let's get some of the lads together. Let's have a go at the Imps song, yeah. Okay, you're on. Go on, fellas. Get around the piano. Let's have a good go. Come on, then. You ready? Come on, you lot. Go on, then. Oh, 'tis our delight for the red and white. The Imps are here to stay. Oh, 'tis our delight for the red and white. The Imps are here to stay. Lincoln City are the team. The Reds is their name. Stinsel is their home ground and football is their game. So come and cheer them on, you lads, support them all the way. Oh, 'tis our delight for the red and white. The Imps are here to stay. Oh, 'tis our...
Morning all. A little bit of an interesting introduction there. 1 second, bear with me. Important stuff happening here, because instead of a dog walk today, we're having a dog not going very far at all. He's not happy, bit warm, doesn't want to go on his morning walk, and I'd already set something up for all of you lovely people. So the outcome is this: I shall sit in the garden and talk to you about the Sheffield United Cup draw, and we'll go from there. So let's see who's on board. Steve, morning Steve, hope you're well, pal. Connor's with us, morning Connor, I hope you're well. Bry Fox, morning Bry. Steve Turner, morning mate. Plenty of you coming on board, thank you very much for that. So I stayed up last night for the cup draw. Unusual for me. I usually like to get myself in bed nice and early these days, but thought I'd stay up for the cup draw. As always, a little bit late, wasn't it, coming on board? Is that better angle? I'm more comfortable like that. And I was, you know what, I was worried about a crappy draw, and by crappy draw I mean like Barrow away or something like that. Now I don't have a preference between home and away, if I'm honest. Depends who you get. And I think in this competition, where there's no prize money, bear in mind, for the early rounds, so basically what you're getting is a share of the attendance. Better to be away at a big ground, isn't it? What would we get at Sinsel Bank for, you know, Barrow at home? 3,500, 4,000 perhaps. So, you know, the FA Cup ties where we've had low attendances have shown that. So you want, if you're going to get a draw at home, you want a big club. And if you're going to get a draw away, you want a big stadium. Doesn't necessarily need to be a big club or a stadium that's going to be full. I thought Notts County's attendance on Tuesday night was disappointing. Just over 6,000. Their first game back as a Football League club, albeit not in a Football League. You know, last year they were playing in the FA Trophy, and this year they're playing in the League Cup, and they can only muster 6,000. And bear in mind, there was 1,700 Lincoln fans there, so you're talking, you know, how many fans? 4,000 Notts County fans. That's not good. It's not great, that at all, I'm afraid. So it was disappointing, but it was better than playing in front of 2,000 at Barrow, wasn't it? So last night's draw, saw the balls all coming through, and I had a few that I quite like the look of. You know, any biggish club at Sinsel Bank where you know that they're going to bring 2,000 odd would be decent. But bear in mind, if you have to split, and even if they bring 2,000, it doesn't make a huge difference, because if you get 8,000, we're splitting it. I think it's 60-40. I might be wrong. So if they bring a big attendance, yeah, it means a little bit more money, but it's not like a typical big attendance for a home game. So actually, I have a preference for away at a big club. And I was looking down the list: Leeds, Forest, obviously the two, because you know that they would be huge attendances. And by huge attendances, I mean, you know, comparative to ours. I don't mean like 60,000 or whatever. I don't think their grounds hold that much, but there'd be big attendances. Either of the Sheffield clubs. And if I had a preference of the Sheffield clubs, it would have been Sheffield United, because we've only been there once this century. We've only played them 8 times, I think, in my lifetime. And 6 of those came between something like September 82 and February 84. So we had a real kind of tight cluster of games against them, and then very, very little, right the way up until the League Cup games at the turn of the century, which, you know, in my mind was just the other season, but is apparently 23 years ago now. So it's not, which is the same distance between the 60s and like the World Cup in 1990. And I used to think, you know, in 1990, where we'd talk about winning in 66, it seemed like a lifetime ago, and now it's the same sort of distance between Lincoln City playing Sheffield United. Scary. Age is scary, but that's a whole different conversation. So the draw, I thought actually was a little bit farcical. It just felt a little bit muddled. You've got Martin O'Neill talking into the balls. You've got Chappers thinking Port Vale are a League Two club. At one point, he said Leicester are in League Two now, meaning round two. I think it all just felt a little bit rushed. I'm not trying to be overly critical, but it wasn't particularly well organised, I don't think. Having to tell the people to point the balls at the screen, Martin O'Neill saying he didn't have a run through, it all feels a little bit, I don't know, a little bit shambolic. I like Chappers and I like Martin O'Neill, but yeah, the draw was just a bit painful as well because we were last out. And I think when you're waiting to see who you've got, like when we played Ipswich, when we played Oldham and drew Ipswich, I think we were the first couple of balls out, and that's it, brilliant, I can turn off. And every single time I had a club like Tranmere, oh God, I'm laid in bed, I don't want those. And Fee was at the next to me. She wasn't particularly happy at wanting to go to sleep, and me going, no, not that, or yeah, we'll have those when they came out, because that's what happens whenever I watch a cup draw. So we got Sheffield United. We were the last ball out. I don't remember the last time we were the last ball out, but just maximising that time I had to be up. God, thunderflies out here are a pain today. So last ball out, away at Bramall Lane, absolutely delighted with the draw. And if you had asked me to pick 5 from the list that I wanted, Sheffield United would have been on that. They are a big club. They're a Premier League club for a start, but they're a Premier League club who are a little bit on their arse at the moment, which I'll come to. And that's just what you want, because this is a competition of shocks. What was it last season? Was there something like 4 Championship clubs left in it in round 2 or round something like that? There were so few clubs because nobody really gives a toss about the League Cup until they get further into it. So no Premier League team at this point are going, well, we'll win the League Cup, that'll keep the club team happy, because they're thinking, well, we need to keep the squad fit, we need to cut down on our number of games. They don't want to be in this competition predominantly. That's why Manchester City nearly always win it with a youth team or a reserve team, because their reserve team is good enough to beat anybody else, and they don't give a toss about it with their first team squad. So they stick the reserves out, and their reserves are good enough to win it. It's why the League Cup nearly always gets won by Manchester City or a Premier League team who don't care about it until the later stages. Look, when we played Liverpool, they sent the youth team, they beat us 7-2. Only Everton, I seem to remember, sent a relatively strong side to play against us, and even then, we scored a couple of goals against them. So it's the competition for shocks. You've seen Burton Albion, I think, do it a few years ago. You've seen Gillingham overturn Southampton in the first round. You've seen sort of plenty of smaller clubs do it. So there's a shock in here. There's a shock on the cards. And we're a decent team when it comes to being out of possession, forcing a team to play. And Sheffield United are not in a good position at the minute. So they've just been promoted, second in the Championship last season. Lost and Die and Sanderbird, who were 2 of their top players from last season. John McAtee was on loan there. He's gone back as well. Right now, at this moment in time, they're weaker than when they came out of the Championship. So they're going to be recruiting, and they're going to be recruiting like mad. Likely running in towards deadline day. The game is potentially going to be played on the 29th or 30th. I think Tuesday the 29th has been penciled in, just after the bank holiday. So that is close to deadline day. I don't think this is going to be a priority for Sheffield United, whereas we're going to be going, hopefully at that point, certainly given that there's a signing meant to be coming over the next kind of 48 hours, we're going to be going into deadline day with a kind of a devil may care attitude. If something comes up, we'll take it, but do we need anything? No. So we're going to be quite comfortable. This is one I think to put down on your coupons as a potential shock. Look what we did to Bristol City last season. And Sheffield United will have kicked off their Premier League campaign. They'll be wanting to keep their best players fit. They won't want to be risking, playing, if they've made new signings or they've got strong players, they won't want to be risking putting them out against Lincoln City, I don't think. It's got shock written all over it, if I'm honest. And that's exciting. And likely we'll go there and we'll get beat 6-1 like we did last time when we went in the league or whatever. I don't know. But at the end of the day, I think the idea for me behind the Carabao Cup is burn bright, burn quick. So get your first round out of the way, get the big club in the second round, go out in a blaze of glory, or do whatever you're going to do. Don't drag it out and get to like the 5th round, and you've got through Bristol City, and you've got through Barrow, and you've got through this, and do you know what I mean? You've still got an average game away. Southampton was. This is great for fans. It's an hour up the road. It's a different Sheffield team to ground to what we've been to in recent years. You know what, honestly, and I don't say this very often when we get a cup draw, I think it's almost as good as we were going to get outside of Leeds or Forest. this was the best draw we could have got. I'm delighted. I'm absolutely delighted. And if we've got a little bit of confidence going into the game, and we've got a little bit of a few results behind us in the league, it's winnable. If we go there and even just give a good account of ourselves, 0-0, go out on penalties, do you know what I mean? You come out of that buoyed. Well, we've been to a Premier League club and we've done it. I think the Bramall Lane crowd will be relatively easy to turn. Yeah, I mean, no disrespect, Sheffield United fans. I like Sheffield United. I do. I'm one of those people that football fans in Sheffield hate. 'Cause I actually like both Sheffield teams. I like Sheffield Wednesday because they were always a big club for me. While I was growing up, they've got like a nice, an old style ground. It's not really fit for purpose, but you can feel football emanating from it. And I like Sheffield United because I was good friends with their mascot. The Captain Blade, a guy called Gaz, who was a fantastic guy. I went to a couple of their open days, and they were a great team to be around. They were a great set of people. Yeah, Sheffield's quite a down to earth place. Sorry, thunder flies everywhere. So it's great draw, fantastic draw. Don't know what you guys seem to think of it. Let's have a look through. Who haven't I said hello to this morning? I don't think I said hello to Adam. Morning, Adam. I hope you're well. Took your point on board, by the way, about the shorts. So not the ones I'm wearing, YouTube shorts. So we're trying to grow the YouTube channel, and we're kind of asking people what sort of content do you want to see. And Adam said he's I think it's the right Adam, by the way. If it's not, my apologies. He said that he's more of an old school football fan. So the tactics are things like long ball or passing, whereas things like high press, half spaces, all that sort of stuff, low block, are a little bit gobbledygook, which I understand, because to me, until I met Chris, one or two of them were as well. So we're looking at putting together a couple of YouTube shorts, I think, just explaining what essentially Chris means when he starts going into football geek mode. Emily, good morning. I hope you're well. Connor has asked a question and got the answer. That's brilliant. Paul Tomlinson, morning, mate. Hope we're all geared up for the first Andy's bus trip of the year. I think it's Stevenage. Looking forward to that. Sean, morning, bud. Hope you're well. Gaz Nicholson, morning, all. He says morning to all of you. You see, there's a man with manners. Good morning, Gaz. Hope you're well. Ollie, he's personally delighted with the draw. He thinks the Blades have a fairly big away allocation, so we could bring a few. Yep, 100%. 100%. And it's the Tuesday after bank holiday, so I will have been off on the Monday. I'm just wondering if I might be able to swing it. I find travelling in an evening really difficult, with work and being kind of an extra 45 minutes out towards the coast from Lincoln. It just gets a little bit tight. I'm really hoping to do this one, without a doubt. The real EFL, well, there we go. Real EFL. They don't give a damn. It's an afterthought. I think that's the draw. Bradford in the past. I'm assuming that was related to something that I'm talking. I'm guessing that this is probably Ryan, but he's got a good point here. It'd make a good TV game. It would. If only Salford and Wrexham weren't still in the draw, we could do. Steve Barton, any info on the news? A loan player is going to announce before the game on Saturday. No more than you already know, mate. I'm afraid. I don't have a heads up. I don't have a name. If I did, obviously, I wouldn't put it out live anyway, because that would be breaching the block. I can't think what they call it now. But anyway, that would be breaching, the club's trust. So if I had a name, I wouldn't put it out. I don't have a name. I don't have any ideas. My guess would be centre half or a wing back, but my guess would be a centre half, I think. So it'd be interesting to see if that's the case. Bubs, how you doing, pal? Morning. Now, Bubs is hoping to get to, I think he said 70 odd games this season. He's really going to be pushing it. Great photos. Bubs, I don't know if you saw, I actually used your pictures from the other night in a YouTube short on TikTok. If you're happy with it, I'll keep doing that. Just a little kind of video featuring your pictures. You get a mention at the end. So if you have a look, yeah, that'd be good. Kev, how you doing? Morning, Gaz. Enjoying Notts County. Yeah, who didn't? Going to Notts County, getting a win like that. Just re-establishing that feeling in your head of superiority over a club who have always been that little bit bigger. Notts County were always a bigger club than Lincoln. Probably still are in terms of their ground, but when they only muster 6,000 for a League One club coming away in the Carabao Cup, I think it's disappointing. Judging by their opening day fixture and Tuesday night, I think Notts County are going to struggle this season. I really do. Harry Jackson, hope you're well, pal. Good morning. Darren Speed, not a bad draw. Our standards only an hour up the road. 100%, exactly what I've said. I think you're spot on. Michael Speedy Vanderson, morning Speedy. Hi Gary, hope good win for us Imps. Let's hope we can continue this winning streak in the cup. Yeah, look, a little bit of a cup run in the Carabao Cup is okay. I can handle that. If you ask me which cup would I rather have the cup run in, it would be the FA Cup, and then it would be the Mickey Mouse Cup. It's not even the Pizza Cup anymore, is it? It's something completely different. I don't even think it's got a sponsor. I don't know, but I'd rather have, because that cup, the trophy, you get better prize money. The FA Cup is the prestige. The League Cup's just dropped away. It's not like it used to be. Do you remember in the 80s when the League Cup was an event? I remember Luton winning it in 88. I think Arsenal won it in 87, Luton in 88. So I think Arsenal won it 87, then Luton beat Arsenal in the final in 88, then Forest beat Luton in the final in 89, and then did Forest win it again in 90, or someone beat Forest in 90? It was something like that. But they were big events. The League Cup used to mean something. That Luton final in '88, Luton and Arsenal. What a game that was! I remember watching that little black and white telly. And you try watching a game like that on a black and white telly, it's not particularly easy. Anyway, Keith Creasy, Heckingbottom was on Talksport yesterday. Sounds like the ownership and the recruitment of the Blazers are shambles. Carabao Cup will be a low priority to them, so a winnable game. Absolutely. Charlie Beeston, morning. Mr. YouTube, we're getting up to that 1,000, mate. Let's keep our fingers crossed. Matthew Walker, great draw. Got it on my way for the game. Going off topic, thought it was interesting that we switched systems on Tuesday and how good we looked in a 4-4-2. Think we could end up playing that way with Walker and House playing up top? No, I don't. I think we just did that because they were a man down, and I think we switched the system probably more to kind of try players and look at the setup. I can't see us playing 4-4-2. I really can't. Not with the ball playing centre backs that we've got. You've got Pordy O'Connor. Would you pair O'Connor and just Rowan? Well, that would then leave Jackson and Ioma. I don't think our recruitment's geared towards 4 at the back. I think we're going to stay 3 at the back. I like it 3 at the back. I think it gives us solidity, so I'm quite happy. Connor Pearce Fans Forum announced August 31st. Club must be confident for no late signings. Yeah, possibly not. Might be an unveiling. You never know. Kev says great memory there, mate. Not sure which one that's about. Probably about the League Cups. I think it's only because I was kind of a part-time Luton fan. As I've said many occasions, Dad told me I had to support a big club, so I picked Luton out of the Panini sticker album because Mick Harford played up front, and my granddad's budgie would say Mick Harford because Grandad had taught him it. So I kind of thought, well, if a family pet can say a footballer's name, he must be good. So we'll support that. Support them. Lucky I didn't just start at the front and go through in it, otherwise it would have been Charlton Athletic, and they won bugger all in the 80s. So I picked Luton in 87. I think it was either 87, 88 or 88, 89 where they played Oxford twice in the top flight and won 7-4 at home and 5-2 away. The 7-4, Malcolm Shotton scored all 4 goals for Oxford, which I think was a record, scoring 4 goals in a game and still losing. But that was when Luton had the plastic pitch. They got through to the final. I remember watching the final. Andy Dibble saved the penalty. I seem to think it was 1-0 Luton, then Arsenal went 2-1 up, got the penalty, missed it, and then Danny Wilson, I think, got a late leveller, and then Brian Steen got the winner in the last minute. It was a hell of a cup tie. And then the year after, I remember it being Forest and Luton, and because I remember watching it, my uncle Jeff's, he passed away now, bless him, passed away the night that we beat Ipswich in the FA Cup. But yeah, I remember watching it at his house, and we never ever usually went to Jeff's because I don't know why. So yeah, there you go. Great memory. Things stick in my mind. Ask me what happened in 95, 96, 97, 98. No idea. But that little period, when you're first coming into football as a kid, you remember everything. Charlie Beeston, 2-team wanker, whatever I can, revoke all your access to YouTube. So look, it was just a quick video this morning to talk about the Sheffield United game. As I say, on the loan signing, I don't think there's any update from me. When I can do anything, obviously I will, but it's likely that that will be, just as and when. If I was expecting anything, I would expect it this evening by 6 o'clock. By the way, Michael's put that out there. I don't think he would put it out if it was tomorrow. I think he would have been more likely to put it out tomorrow, but I might be wrong. I will not be able to cover it if it is this afternoon, because I'm actually down at the ground today meeting some of the players, taking my nephew down there for an event, which is quite exciting. So you never know, they might unveil him there. That would be something. But rest assured, if they do, I might even go live from the ground. You never know. So look, right. Thank you everybody for all of your great support. If you're watching on Facebook and you don't subscribe to the YouTube channel, please go and subscribe to the YouTube channel, please. We're trying to get to 1,000. Spider now. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, and there's a reason for it. When you've got 1,000 subscribers, you can go on their monetization program, and we do want to sponsor players. We are talking to the club at the moment. We do have a player sponsorship, hopefully, that we're going to be announcing at some point over the next week or two. I'm not going to announce it until it's paid for. But we are going to be sponsoring a first team player this season, which is really exciting. We've been sponsored by Proxy over the last few years, so an overseas couple who wish not to have their name associated with a sponsorship but wish to help the club very kindly put our name on their sponsorship. This year we're going to be doing it ourselves from the money raised by from the podcast. And let's face it, if we get monetization via YouTube, we would be able to do more, maybe sponsor a couple of players, or maybe do a full kit rather than just a home kit or something like that. So, you know, it all helps. So if you're watching on Facebook now and you haven't subscribed on YouTube, please do. It's really, really important to us. Just quickly, Michael says, Cornell Brummett says that there might be one or two coming in. Is this true? I like Cornell. He's a lovely, lovely guy. But I would think that he has about as much knowledge of who is coming into the football club as you do, Speedy. That's all I'm going to say. Michael Horton said there's one coming in. Then I would say there's one coming in. Do I think that there'll be two coming in today? Absolutely not. I don't think it'll be a double signing at all. I think we're more likely to announce a second player next week, week after, I don't know, and then running into the deadline day, we'll see what happens. But I don't think there's going to be a lot of signings. That's my thought. Look, thank you very much for watching. I'm going to go back and get some work done before heading off into Lincoln. I really appreciate all of your support. If you're watching on Facebook, go and subscribe on the YouTube channel. Other than that, all that remains to say is, up the imps.